The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah! Go Cowboys! This is Talkin Cowboys. Streaming live from the Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star in Frisco.
Pollard streaks in. Touchdown. Parsons has sacked it. Prescott keeps it, and he bangs it in for the touchdown.
And now your hosts, Isaiah Stanback, Nick Harris, Josh Rodriguez, and Kyle Yeomans.
It's a Talkin' Tuesday edition of Talkin' Cowboys presented by Black Rifle Coffee Company. Today we talk to Cowboys Nation. Give us a call, 888-855-2297, or hit us up on the Cowboys Podcast text line, 817-290-3298. It has been too long since we've been able to talk to Cowboys Nation. These short weeks have really hindered our ability to do so. So today we are going to take plenty of phone calls. We're going to answer so many text messages.
Do it.
And we're going to do it here over the next 45 minutes. We've got Nick Harris, John Machota, Chris Beam in the back. I'm Kyle Yeomans. And we also have Pac-12 champion, Isaiah Stanback, his Washington Huskies.
This is a part of the journey, Kyle.
Yeah. Hey, you helped build that program to a college football playoff berth.
I mean, I was just a little speck amongst the whole picture.
You're so humble.
I mean, those guys, all these programs having, especially like guys like Derek Eagleton and Brittany, their programs have watch parties.
Yeah.
Watch parties to see if we're going to, oh, that's right, you're a Texas guy too. Did we get in? You know what we had, Kyle?
What you have?
Our coach showed up to the office.
Getting back to work.
Just back to work.
Yep.
We just need to find out who our next opponent was. That's all he cared about. He didn't care about nobody else was in the building, Kyle.
He's going to be right back in the office on January 2nd, too. Getting ready for 2025.
Getting ready for the good old national championship. You're right, baby. You're right.
Getting ready for the national championship game, yeah. That's going to be a fun game.
Absolutely.
Texas, Washington. I'm sure there are plenty of Texas Longhorn fans that listen to this show.
Because we did it last year.
Yeah.
I was there for that.
Yeah. Alamo Bowl.
Yeah, what was the result?
Washington won.
More or less.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Majority of our players are back.
I was about to say, Texas sat some guys in that game, and they're not sitting anybody in the college football
Majority
playoff.
of our guys are back.
I know they
and
are.
better.
Trust me, if I had to
Texas
pick,
lose? Bijan,
that's big.
and that's like it. And they replaced
DeMarvion Overshown?
another 1,200-yard rusher who tore his ACL, and then replaced him with another guy that's averaging 100 yards. But what do I know?
How many guys are you guys sending to the Heisman finalists?
How many are going to win?
Oh, goodness, guys. We're already starting this?
We got a month of this.
We're already starting this?
We got a whole month.
I love it.
And then we've got John over here across the table that's from Detroit, but you hate Michigan, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do. Very much so.
How does that work?
Unfortunately, a Florida State guy as well.
You see the Seattle.
I didn't even think about that.
see it.
Yeah.
Dang.
You see it. I'm Seattle all through and through.
I am for the pro teams, but I didn't. I mean, you went to Washington. I didn't go to Michigan. Why do I have to root for them?
You don't have to do anything. You're a grown man.
I am.
Are you? Did you
40.
handle the Florida State news well, or are you upset about the whole
No,
process?
I don't think anybody that.
Yeah.
I mean, who would?
Yeah.
Honestly, like if you handled that well, if that was your team.
Yeah.
If it was a one loss, we've all dealt with that stuff. Where
Like
it's like,
Georgia
hey,
right
it's up
now.
to everybody. You got everyone's got one loss. But when you're an undefeated Power 5 conference champ and your non-conference includes Florida and LSU, like it's your fault that they sucked. Is it your fault that Florida and LSU weren't as good as they normally are? Like you can only schedule the games, So that's if they honestly, like I even would have been fine with it if their non-conference was, some teams will just like their 3 non-conference, they're just like, come on guys, what are we even doing here, Yeah. But when it's Florida and LSU, you're just kind of like, this is what the games that we're being played. I think the whole like quarterback being out is kind of a cop out thing.
You think so?
Yeah, I think it's like an excuse.
It's a way to get Alabama
it's an excuse
and
for
get the
Alabama
SEC
to get the
in.
SEC in.
And that's such a weak excuse. It's such.
So
a
what are you
weak
guys'
excuse.
thoughts? What do you guys think should have happened?
I think Florida State should have been 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I don't even think it's up for debate.
Who do you think should have been 3?
Texas.
Yeah, Texas.
I think they get the top.
Not Georgia?
No.
You should go from 1 to 8.
Well, they went to 7.
They went to
7.
6.
Okay.
Six.
6.
I just think that there's 2 different arguments. If you're trying to put the most deserving teams in, then I think Florida State's in. If you're trying to put the best teams in, they didn't get that right either because Georgia's one of the best 4 teams. Mm-hmm. There's no debating that. So let's not come with this clown committee stuff about how, Georgia's now still one behind Florida State.
Yeah.
They're a 14-point dog in that game. You don't really think that Georgia is below Florida State. So just do it real then. If you're really, hey, you want to start it this year and do the best teams, then do the best teams. Don't lie to us.
Who do you believe should have been the best 4 teams in there?
The best 4 teams, you're not going to want to hear. Well,
Go ahead.
Liberty.
no, it's tough. It's tough. I definitely think the best team is Georgia. I think Alabama's second. It's close with me between Michigan, Washington, and Texas.
Yeah.
I don't think Florida State is one of the. I'm not naive to this.
Sure.
I honestly would have no other problem. But then even if you do that, then you're going to have Washington or you're going to have Texas, whoever, complaining about them being left out. So
Who had the most ranked wins?
yeah, I mean they're undefeated, so I would think Washington deserves to be in.
Washington and Michigan are locks, and then
But I'm just telling you this. Nobody.
You're going to be so unbearable for the next month. Oh,
Nobody would be
terrible.
like you see that reaction of the Michigan. Like I was just telling him, like you see that reaction of the Michigan players when they saw they got Alabama
buddy.
instead. I'm telling you, that's how all those teams would have been if they got Georgia instead of whatever team that they got. They'd be like, oh, I thought they were out. So just don't lie to me and make this phony thing of how no, we're putting the best. No, you're not. No, you're not. You're trying to find in. Let's be kind of like we're doing the right thing, but make sure you get an SEC team in. Make sure we get an
I don't
SEC
know how
team
you drop from 1 to 6 or 7 or whatever the heck it is. That's just insane.
especially if the precedent that's being set by putting Alabama in has Georgia also should be in because they're just the best team that's
madness.
available. They're one of the 4 best teams. I think the committee got it right in terms of the 4 and the way that the scenario played out. It's a crazy scenario. Absolutely wild scenario. I would have done the exact same thing, but I get your reasoning on Florida State deserved to be in, no doubt about it, but they're just in a peculiar situation with the quarterback situation, the way that they played down the stretch, and the way that teams or the way that the committee saw how they played in those games.
But see, that's the even thing. I don't even know if the committee saw it that way.
Really?
I think it's
think it's
very hard ESPN driven. I mean, when
They
you watch
don't
the
wanna let
games,
the
like,
SEC
would you guys
out.
sit there and watch like a Florida State Louisville ACC championship game? Of course not. Most people didn't. And that's fine. But if you watch that game, the entire time that's all they're talking about. Like it's just so driven on how they're not going to be able. It was like the game didn't even mean anything. The way that like the ESPN was like
talking
spinning
about it.
and ESPN and the SEC. I mean, they're obviously big brands, man. They're in it together. It's about making money.
Has anybody checked on No C Walker?
I'm sure
Yeah, he's not in this
fine. I mean,
conversation, that's for sure.
they're back to back.
He's at 6.
He's
Poor guy.
very angry, I can imagine.
Yeah, neither one of my top college football teams, North Texas, school I went to, Baylor, the school that I grew up around, neither one of them even made a bowl game. So you guys be happy that you had good seasons.
Okay, everybody has a down year.
You had
My university
they
had plenty.
Yeah, that's how it goes. All right, let's talk Cowboys. Sorry we took so long on college football, but we are all big college football
have that.
fans.
I'm not even touching
you
this.
dove.
I'm not even touch- Actually, this
take
is
it.
fire.
I'll
Yeah,
take it.
I'm
trying
going
to-
to take this. I'm going to take this. This is fire.
Bow down.
News and notes from the Cowboys over the weekend. Of course, they got the big win. On Thursday Night Football. How have things kind of gone since then?
Well, talking about news and notes, is that what we're kind
Yes.
of jumping into here? Well, we can start with Shaq Leonard signing with Philadelphia yesterday. It was kind of starting to trend that way, and we were talking to some people yesterday, and it was kind of funny, the people that were like, yeah, it's trending towards Philadelphia, and then almost immediately he signed with Philly.
With those people, did you get the sense that it was? It's gonna be tough to overcome this, man. I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely not. Absolutely
get that
not.
one either.
I know there were some health concerns in the building, but they would have been completely okay bringing him in and having that opportunity to, fit him in with this defense and have a run stopper like this. They were very excited about that possibility, but as we talked about, as soon as the possibility opened, it's not going to be the end of the world if they don't get him. Does it hurt that he goes to Philly of all places? Maybe. Yeah.
Behind that
That's
defensive
tough.
line, yes, it hurts.
That's tough. Yeah,
Yes, let's
but
be realistic.
how much of a run stopper can he really be this season? And especially, is he going to be ready this week? I don't feel like that's realistic right now. But I we'll see. We'll see. And if he is active on Sunday night, then I'm sure everyone's going to be looking out for whatever number he's wearing.
I'm fascinated to see how he plays, but then also eventually the contract numbers will come out. I just found it interesting this morning on the radio on 105.3 The Fan when Jerry was asked about it. He said that when they met, that there was never any money even mentioned. They didn't even get to money. It was more about, hey, this is what we want. This is how you can help us. We think you'll be a good fit in this way. had lunch, and that was more of, and then obviously they looked into the health side of it as well. But I found it interesting that he said that they didn't even get into the financial side. So I'm interested to see when those numbers eventually do come out. Maybe there's a lot of incentives in the contract, but to your point, I remember you talking about like potentially like more than 1 year. I found it interesting that it was only a 1 year deal. And the other interesting part about it too is that like the Eagles website like put that out immediately.
Yeah.
Like, there was like some reports that came out, and then boom, they were like, we have signed, Shaq Leonard 1 year deal or whatever. So obviously they didn't include the numbers, but I want to see what those are. I'm very interested in that.
Especially with it being a 1 year deal. That was the conversation that we had was, does he want to test free agency, and does he want a 2 year deal? I know you thought a 2 year deal would have done him well.
I think a 2 year deal would have done him well, but I mean, I understand signing a 1 year with Philly. I really do. I mean, I know Cowboys fans don't want to hear that, but that's reality. If you're a linebacker, you're going to go where you're going to have the most freedom to roam without getting blocked. And the defensive line that they have in Philadelphia allows for him to do that. He can roam free without any offensive lineman being able to get up to him. And it just makes total sense. It makes total sense. That's why I said if he leaves this building without a contract, he's not coming back. Yeah. I just knew that. Knew it.
Well, that was the plan all along. He was always going to.
I had a plan to go see 5 schools. After my third school, I canceled the rest of them.
It was very recruiting.
You know what I'm saying? Like
it was very recruiting.
Yeah, once you know. So,
but you don't. Okay, so you don't think that a player could potentially be like, I want to go to the Eagles, but let me just go check out. Oh, I don't know, their biggest rival, their most hated rival. Let me just go check it out. Like that's a possibility.
It is a possibility.
Let me at least kick the tires, see what's going on here.
This is 2 of the best teams in the league.
Yeah.
When you're talking about the Dallas Cowboys and Philadelphia Eagles, based upon what's going on right now, these are 2 of the best teams. So it makes sense that you would go see those 2 teams. But if you go to one and they don't talk to you about any money, and money's a big part of your decision.
But that's what I'm saying. Money is a big part of your decision. So you need leverage. You need to be able to go to this team and go, hey, I really like what you guys are doing. I'd like to join you. But you would at least, again, that's why I want to see the numbers. You want to at least have something like, hey, also your biggest rival's real interested in me too. I mean, that does add a factor to it.
I think that can be it. I mean, obviously,
it's not like
with some guys,
going, hey, it's between the. I
wouldn't do that personally. So I can't speak for him, but I can say that he knows, and everybody around the league knows, that Philadelphia is going to go after what they want.
Yeah,
that's what's one thing that's
well, and they both need linebacker help too. The other top team in the NFL right now is the San Francisco 49ers. They don't necessarily need linebacker help.
And even if he gets kicked out in the middle of the game,
yeah, exactly.
And even if
they do have one needs to get kicked out in the middle of the game.
That's a new strategy right there.
And even if that was the case, I'm not saying it was, but that he wanted to have some leverage. I'm not saying that even if that doesn't make you a bad person or anything like that. That's business. That's a smart move if you did something like that. I don't think that you should look any differently on a player if they were to do something like that. It's business at the end of the day.
I just think that there's a chance when you go to Dallas that you may leave the building without a contract. When you go to Philly, you're not leaving the building without a contract. You're just not.
Yeah.
We know that sitting here. Players know that too. I'm a highly touted player. I'm somebody that everybody wants to have their hands on. I'm going to go to arguably one of the best teams in the league, and their defensive line is freaking amazing.
Yeah. There's just something
you know what I'm saying? Like,
it's not just about this year though with me either. It's like my entire time covering the team. How many times I've just been nauseated at the reports that come out about a player being available and how the Cowboys are one of the teams. Like there'll be 4 teams, but then
you did
there'll be 4 teams, but then there's always like one where they'll be like, and then the Cowboys, and you know that they're not going to the Cowboys, but it's like always included in there. Yeah. Actually, it ties in with the college football playoffs. Yeah, a little bit. The Cowboys would love it if they did this by a committee.
Yeah.
Because how many years would they be real close? And they'd be like, no, Cowboys are one.
Gotta come in.
You got to come in. The Cowboys of college.
I mean, you just see the numbers that they put up that Thursday night game, the most streams that they've ever had. It just came out. Yeah. This game this Sunday night is going to be one of the most watched games. Yeah, I mean. Yeah. The Cowboys are just, I feel like, and I'm not, please remove the Shaq Leonard thing from this. I'm not saying him for this instance, but I'm just saying the Cowboys are used as leverage.
Yeah. It happens every offseason. It happens in season, and then especially in a heated divisional race like this. And
let me also say he's going to be very, very unbearable if Shaq Leonard gets on the field and is a beast. We're not going to be able to deal with Isaiah because I told you, I should let him leave the building.
It just makes sense as a linebacker. Like, you think about some of the greatest linebackers in the game, they were playing behind really big defensive tackles. And if you want to roam free and if you're a run stopper, like that's the biggest part of your game. How can I be most successful? Well, I can have some big boys in front of me that don't allow the offensive lineman to get up to me. That's how you're successful as a linebacker. And that's what they have. And so it made sense from that regard. And then you add the aspect that those guys have been at the top of the league. They've been to the Super Bowl. These guys have a highly competitive, aggressive general manager. It was just going to work that way if he left this building.
The way that Philly got pressure on Brock Purdy early in that game this past weekend, it was so impressive, and it felt like Brock was just running for his life. And then somehow San Francisco figured it out, and they started giving it to McCaffrey.
So
that opened things up.
Greatest trade in history.
Yep,
Yeah.
Debo Samuel got the rock a couple different times. That opened some things up, and then they were able to kind of get around it. But man, Shaq Leonard going to Philadelphia. I don't think it's a huge drop off. I really don't. I don't think this is a huge loss for the Cowboys. Just in the conversations across the building too that we had after his meeting, I don't think they were that worried about him. And I would honestly be willing to say that they're probably shocked Philly signed him. I legitimately think that's the case across the building. It's like, wow, Philly even wanted him.
Yeah.
I think that's probably in the cards too. Anything else for news and notes?
Yeah, not really. I mean, we were able to talk to coordinators yesterday and Mike McCarthy, just kind of quick hitters. There doesn't seem to be any major injury concerns coming out of the 3 games in 12 days. So that's obviously a huge deal when you can escape that and be able to come out on the other side healthy. Still some figuring out that they have to do with Peyton Hendershot. Mike McCarthy said that there would be an update on Wednesday about that. So tomorrow we'll probably have more on if Hendershot will be activated off the IR or if he'll stay on for the rest of the season. Curious if your guys' opinion there, though.
So with Hendershot specifically,
Yeah.
Is he healthy? That's my number one thing.
He's, at least from what we've seen in practice, he looks healthy. He looks ready to go. I don't think that's the concern. I think it's more so roster management at this point.
That's tough because the one guy that I think you would take off of that spot would be maybe Sean McEwen.
Yeah.
And McEwen, and I've been very critical of him throughout the last couple of years, especially whenever we're watching games live and things like that. And maybe not on the air or anything, but I don't think he's a very good blocker, and he's supposed to be a blocking tight end. He's been good the last couple of weeks. I got to give him credit. He's been really good. When going back and watching the film, I think he's done a better job of opening things up, especially on the outside whenever they're pulling and they're kind of rolling with those zone blocking schemes. He's able to help that out significantly. If McEwen is playing like that consistently as the year goes on, I don't mind putting Peyton Hendershot on the IR for the rest of the season. If we're going to see some ups and downs from McEwen, give me Hendershot. Let's roll.
Yeah.
But it's an interesting conversation.
So did Fant get moved up last week from practice?
He got elevated from the practice squad.
I saw him in pregame. I was like,
And John Fossil was very complimentary of him yesterday, actually, and what he was able to do on special teams. They weren't able to do much because there was no punts and every kickoff was a touchback, but he said he looked good.
no
during the week.
punts.
He's a
That's
big
true.
physical dude that's going to give you high effort. I mean, that's what
sure.
special teams is all about, right? So, I mean, that makes sense. That makes sense. But I was curious. I was, seeing him in tight end warm-ups. I was like, had a little question mark. But in terms of Hendershot, I think he could be a resource. I don't know where his head's at. I think that's what it comes down to for Hendershot. When his head's in the right space, I think he's a heck of an asset. I think he's shown that in practice, things that we've seen in training camp. When he's in his own head, he's a freaking snapshot of what he truly can be.
In training camp. We talked about it significantly.
Exactly. So I don't know where he's at. So if he's a healthy Hendershot who has his mind ready to rock and roll, I think he could be one heck of an asset. He's confident. He can't be guarded at the receiving side of things in terms of tight end. Blocking wise, you'll definitely take a hit. But what you would gain in the receiving game might be something that could help your team out. But it's all dependent on him.
Yeah, it's tough for me to disagree with any of that. I thought he was going to be a pretty big part of this team this year, but where things are trending now, I don't see that happening. But yeah, I didn't even think about it from that perspective. That is a good point. Yeah.
Maybe it is a good way for him to reset and get ready and go into another year worth of training, off season, things like that. Kind of clear your mind and then get after it again in training camp. But yeah, that one's interesting with Peyton Hendershot because Jake Ferguson continues to step up. Luke Schoonmaker's been blocking better. McEwen's been blocking better. You elevated Noah Fant, who could help you out with special teams.
Princeton Fant,
sorry, not Noah Fant. Noah Fant
I do the same
was
thing
on
all
the
the time.
Seattle side of things last week. But yeah, there's ways there that I think you can utilize Hendershot. But if you're going to take a roster spot away, it's going to be taken away from the tight end room. You're not going to take it from anywhere else on this team.
Yeah, and I think an interesting caveat to all of this too is, you have a very young, exciting prospect in John Stevens that'll be ready next year.
Yeah.
How much of Hendershot do you want to see before then? Do you want to see, it's the same type of tight end as well.
Really
it's a
good point.
receiving tight end. How much of Hendershot do you want to see on the field before Stevens is back healthy and being able to play? And I'll tell you, I've been seeing Stevens more and more around the facility recently. He's starting to look good, and he's stayed in the weight room too. I'm really excited to see him at camp
always
next
see him
year.
on the jugs machine.
Yeah, super excited to see him at camp next year. He's going to be a fun one.
Even whenever he got hurt, one of the first weeks after he got hurt.
This dude, before he even had his surgery, he was out there on
he
the
was
jugs
on the jugs
machine.
machine.
Yeah.
Really impressed
big
with
jugs guy?
John Stevens.
Yeah.
Were you one of these guys that have like your own at home? I've seen how they.
You know what? It's funny that you're actually saying that because I'm actually in the middle right now of emailing a company in Europe about ordering a soccer
jugs?
version of the jugs machine for my kids. Yeah, love the jugs machine.
Big jugs guy.
You know what? You know what?
We're children.
Never mind. We'll leave that alone.
Yeah, you should probably should. Probably should.
One of the reasons I brought it up though is because I've heard of guys buying them and having them at their house.
So
I
there's
just don't
a
know.
company.
Who do you have loading that thing?
There's a company called Monarch. Right? So there's a company called Monarch that actually is a high-tech version of a jugs machine, and you don't need anybody to operate it. Okay. You put the balls, you put 6 balls in, and it's like programmed, and you can literally shoot all 6 of them out by yourself.
All right.
Thank goodness.
All right.
I like it.
We
Gotta get out of
appreciate
this
you. You good with news and notes?
Yeah,
You're
I'm
done?
good.
Yeah, that's one way to knock it out. All right, when we come back, we're taking your calls. 888-855-2297, 888-855-2297. Give us a text at 817-290-3298. We'll be back with more Talking Cowboys right after this.
Talking jugs.
Todd thought it would be secure to jog in the cheetah savanna. Todd believed the big cat repellent he bought online was reliable. And now, Todd is trying to be faster than this cheetah that can run 80 miles per hour. But the good news is, Todd has AT&T 5G that is fast, reliable, and secure. And he learned the best thing to do is stop running and toss her the backpack with the beef stew. AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, secure. It's not complicated.
5G requires compatible plan and device. 5G may not be available in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
Black Rifle Coffee Company serves premium coffee to people who love America. When you drink Black Rifle coffee, you are directly supporting veterans, law enforcement, and first responders in your community. Black Rifle's expert roasters love coffee almost as much as Texas loves football, so it makes sense that America's Coffee partnered with America's team. Go online at blackriflecoffee.com and fuel up with the official coffee of the Dallas Cowboys. That's blackriflecoffee.com to fuel up today.
Cowboys fans, after that move, we've just coined the term Rowdy Replay. Let's roll back the tape.
Okay, there's our mascot Rowdy cheering on the boys, and now he's on his phone on his Bank of America mobile banking app?
Staying on top of his finances with his virtual financial assistant, Erica.
Bank of America's digital tools are so impressive. Cowboys fans just can't stop banking. Learn more at bankofamerica.com/can't stop banking.
Erica is only available in the English language. You must download the latest version of the mobile banking app, only available on select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. Member FDIC.
Welcome back into Dear Doctor, the show where I answer life's questions with an ice-cold can of Dr. Pepper. Sheila, let's hear from our next caller, would you?
Dear Doctor, my friend supported me during a tough time, but what's the right gift that says, thanks for being a shoulder to cry on?
Okay, this one's easy. I say give her a delicious Dr. Pepper. Nothing says, thanks, girl, better than a one-of-a-kind soda. Yes, any Dr. Pepper flavor will do. Now, just a reminder that I don't need to be a real doctor to know that Dr. Pepper is the one you deserve.
Back to Talkin' Cowboys.
Back here on Talking Cowboys, presented by Black Rifle Coffee Company. This segment of the show is brought to you by Quaker Oats, a super trusted superfood. Quaker Oats, the official oatmeal sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys. Give us a call, 888-855-2297. Or you can hit us up on the podcast text line, 817-290-3298. All right, let's see if we can find some questions. Let's see. This is from the 832. Because the Niners ran so well over the Eagles, running should not only be the plan, but it should be a priority. Very seldom will a good team allow the same thing to happen to them next week. How can you be creative in the run game? Isaiah, I'll let you start with that one out.
Okay, so running the ball against a big physical defensive front is a good game plan if you have the guys that can move those big physical guys off the line of scrimmage. And I'm not saying that Dallas can't, but there's an attitude that goes with the San Francisco 49ers running game. Like the San Francisco 49ers beat up the Eagles the same way the 49ers beat up the Cowboys. It doesn't sound good, but that's the truth.
It is.
Yeah. Real quick on that. Do you see any other team? Because I don't feel like there's another team that does that.
That physical?
Like,
no.
Yeah, on the Niners level.
No.
Like, is there another team in the AFC, anything that you think is even close to them?
No.
You talking about physicality?
Physicality.
Man, Seattle was super physical. That's a super physical defense.
Yes,
specifically.
yes, very much
Their
so.
defense is
mainly from the secondary, right? And the linebacker, the secondary, right? San Francisco's physical. Like their trenches are just a beast, right? So in terms of like that's my style of play, like bully ball. Like I love to be able to air it out and all those things, just like San Fran does, right? They like to air it out, get Brandon Ayuk the ball, get Debo the ball, but ultimately they can always fall back on what? Handing that thing off to C-Mac and just moving you off the line of scrimmage.
And Debo.
And Debo, right? But like that's what I envision for the Cowboys to be able to do. But it takes not only the personnel to do it, but it takes an attitude. And one of the reasons why I've been so adamant about getting Tony Pollard touches and getting Rico Dowdle more touches earlier in the season is so that you can build that confidence in your offensive line and that they have that confidence within themselves that when they step to the line of scrimmage, there's no question marks surrounding whether or not they can move anybody regardless of who's on the opposing side of the line of scrimmage. Like you should have that mentality like the old Dallas Cowboys, right? Yeah. Back when you had DeMarco Murray and all them cats and Zeke and everybody else that was in there. But you knew when we stepped to the line of scrimmage, we could run the ball against anybody. I don't think that this Dallas team at this point in time has that confidence, and you need that, and you have the personnel to do it, but it's an attitude that comes with it, and the attitude comes based upon your confidence.
Is that something you can find over the course of a season, though?
It is, but like now you're getting down to the nitty gritty, right? So like it's a little late, and now you're about to start facing the teams that you would have liked to have the confidence going into with, in the running game with. Sure. So that's why I've been so adamant about, hey, like 12 touches for Tony Pollard, that's not enough, And now they've been creeping up toward, now I think last game was 20 touches for him, but like it's less about Tony Pollard and more about the offensive line. Mm-hmm. The offensive line, their continuity and their ability to step to the line of scrimmage and just feel like, hey, we got some dogs up here. You do. You have some personnel. You have some guys up there with some attitude. T. Steele, Tyler Smith, Tyron, Zach. Like you got dudes up there. Even Tyler, to be honest, like they have the attitude, but they have to have the confidence together to be able to go out regardless of what front they're facing. Not just personnel, but the different types of fronts. When the shifts happen, when the linebackers shift over, like knowing that they're on one accord to be able to go out there and execute their combo blocks and whatever else adjustments they have to make. You need that. The last thing you want to be doing is facing stiffer competition, trying to wonder if you're going to be able to execute your assignment.
I think the big difference between the last time that they played Philadelphia and now when it comes to that point, and you kind of mentioned it a little bit, is there's more chemistry on that offensive line. With every game that they stack and they're able to stay healthy and be on the field the entire game, you can see that confidence building, and you can see it specifically in the protection game for Dak Prescott, but there's kind of fruits of that labor in the running game as well. You see it in the red zone, I think, more so than anything. We talked about early in the season with those big red zone struggles that they had. They're still around, but it's not as big as it was, and that's an attribute to Tony Pollard being able to find a little bit of running lanes. I think he's 3 straight games now with the rushing touchdown, and they're all coming in inside the red zone. The more confidence that those guys build up front, I think it's only going to help that running game succeed. And that's the reason I would say, there should be some confidence going into this game for the running game because of what you've been able to stack in recent weeks, how that offense looked against Philadelphia without the running game. If you can add that piece, then maybe that's the difference between 28-23 and 31-23, or who knows, So I think that if they're able to put that together, then it might be a different result.
An offensive line is not this sexy position, and it gets lost in the conversation so often, but I do find it interesting how tied as the 3 favorites right now for MVP are Dak, Hurts, and Purdy, and all of their play is tied to they have to have good offensive line play in front of them. And you've seen, I can't say as much that I've watched Purdy as much as I have with Jalen and Dak, but you can just tell, like when Jalen doesn't have Lane Johnson, like it's just a different thing. And obviously when Dak has had so many times over these last few years, we're just rotating offensive line. I don't think it's a coincidence that some of his best ball that if not his best ball, is being played right now when he has had, to his point, a lot of the continuity.
His best
like
5 up front.
See, and I still don't think that you've seen the best Dak.
Yeah.
As good as Dak is playing, I still think that he needs
That's exciting.
a solid running game to be able to be the true him. Now, that's not to say to be an effective version of Dak, which he has been, but I still think if you get this running game like going to the point where you're like, man, I don't care what y'all do. Y'all can play 8 in the box. Like, we're coming downhill.
It's the final infinity stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the final thing, and then you got the gauntlet.
That's
you're
it.
ready to roll.
I will say in that first half against Seattle, they were running under center so much.
Yeah, they were.
Considerably more than they had
it.
the entire season.
I said that on the broadcast. I was like, he's under center again. And,
Yeah.
and
I hate
I went back and looked
5 yards
at it.
back, you know?
Okay.
Dallas actually runs the
You
second
like the
most.
physical running style.
I don't want to have two conversations rolling, but they're second in the NFL in terms of under center snaps, which I found surprising.
Yeah.
The fact that they rank that high, they run under center 35% of the time, which shocks me.
It felt like
But
60
it
in that
felt
first
more.
half.
You're right.
Yeah.
It felt more like above 50% in the first.
And the reason we bring that up is because that's able to integrate so much more play action and allow Dak to be able to work at what he does best. But I think it came probably late second quarter. They were like, hey, we're not really threatened by this running game, so we're going to go ahead and let you do your play action if you want to. And it ended up working out for them. They ended up coming back in shotgun in the second half, and it worked out great for them. But I thought it was really interesting that they were able to not only do both of those things and do them well, but succeed in the long term with it and use it as much as they did.
Great question from the 832. All right, let's go to New York, where Mike is our first caller today on a Philly week version of Talkin Cowboys. Mike, what's on your mind?
What's going on, guys? My biggest key to the Cowboy and Eagle game is penalties. We have to be way more disciplined. And Hosea, I got something to say. I know you're going to pick the Eagles on Friday.
Calling him out.
You don't know what I'm going to pick.
You're going to pick the Eagles. I know you're going to go against Dallas. You're going to pick the Eagles.
Hey, you don't know what I'm going to pick, but you know what? I'm glad that you're finally on board in terms of the penalties, because that is something that I've been talking about for a long time that has been getting overlooked by the Dallas Cowboys nation because of the blowouts. Right? When you went on that run of 3-4 games, blowing teams out, like the one thing that nobody was paying attention to was the 7, 8, 9 penalties, 100+ yards penalties. Like nobody cared about it, right? But now it's a conversation because now it affects. All right, thanks for the call, Doug. Now it affects everything. Like penalties can literally disrupt everything that you're doing.
Everything. On momentum, drives, defensive stops.
I'm interested in all your guys' take on this. What do you think the percentage is on that being on players versus and coaching? Because I can't say that it's 100% coaching, or I think it's more coaching than it is players. But why do you think that the penalty?
Why do you think that?
I think there's a mindset that comes with it.
Yes.
I think that sometimes.
You talking about like what's tolerated?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Discipline's discipline at the end of the day.
Yes.
I think it's more player based, but I think there is emphasis that you can make during the week in coaching. But at the end of the day, it comes down to what's going on in here, and that's player.
I agree. I agree with
offside stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I agree with
That's
both.
exactly what I'm
I mean, I come from an era where there were like real consequences. I can't speak to what consequences are going on in this particular locker room, but you make an error, like you're sitting down. Like,
it's so old head of you. Why are you saying, I don't know about these days?
Yeah,
Back in my day.
It's true, man.
Like it was so long
Dude,
ago.
It
like
was.
You wore like a leather
I
football
retired
helmet.
10 years ago. Like ball was different 10 years ago.
It was.
It was
You're
completely
100% right.
different.
I'm just
You know,
giving
like I mean, you hear Tom Brady talking about it. He just shut it down.
Yeah. Tom Brady starts talking about Ronnie Lott. He retired in like 95. Never came close to playing with Tom Brady. But yeah, no, throw it back, man. I just can't wait. We're going to hear LeBron like 10, 15 years from now. Man, when I played, it was just so physical and everything like that. And everyone's gonna be like, what?
What are you talking about?
Sorry, I cut you off. I apologize.
No, you're fine.
Go ahead.
You're fine. I don't even know what I'm saying.
About the penalties.
You're talking about penalties and how it can disrupt your.
Yeah, no, it's something that has to be addressed. It really has to be addressed, and I'm not sure what the consequences or repercussions have to be from the coaching staff to make sure that is an emphasis and the importance on this team. But it has to be corrected because it's going to kill you. It killed you in playoffs. Right?
And that's what I'm saying. It's not just a one-year thing. This has been going
reoccurring.
on. I mean, you go back to fans throwing stuff at the refs after the Niners game a couple years ago. I mean, this is not this is an issue for 2023.
Well, they led the NFL in penalties in 2021.
And now they're at the top of the league again.
Second in the league.
Second in the league,
Seattle.
Yeah. I'm saying like it has to stop.
That was a battle for the first place
because it's going to destroy. You might be in a game neck and neck with the Philadelphia Eagles, or maybe even against Detroit or Miami or whatever else is going to come down the road here pretty soon, and there's going to be a penalty that's going to literally just halt your drive. It's going to either bump you out of field goal position, or it's going to extend the drive of the opposing offense. It's going to put them in position to score points. Like there's going to be something if it continues this way that's going to kill you.
It's interesting, though, because when you mention about the leading in penalties, and we have the perfect person to bring this up with here, I want to say the year that the Seahawks won the Super Bowl, they might have led the league in penalties.
2017?
And so I wonder if that might be, it's fine, like if it's some stuff on the back end of the defense as opposed to like the pre-snap stuff that you just cannot have. But there was a physical style that Seahawks defense played with that led to a lot of penalties that I think a lot of people talk about how they were so physical on the back end where it would be like, yeah, you're going to throw some flags, but you're not going to flag us at all. This is our play style. Yeah. So, but you don't see that with this cow. You think that they can improve in those areas. It doesn't have to be part of the
2014, when they won the Super Bowl, they did lead the league in penalties. Yeah. So that was the case. They also led it in 2017. That's why I said 2017 initially. I don't know why. I thought they won the Super Bowl that year. That was the year Philly won it. Philly was top 10 in that as well.
So Philadelphia, they won the Super Bowl that year, even though their quarterback got hurt. They still let them play, and they won with their backup. Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
Just throw it out there.
Yeah. Well, the committee would not have put them in if that was like now. But anyway,
the NFL committee.
Apologize, but you don't see that with like this team.
I think the only way that you overcome like a vast number of penalties is by having turnovers. If you can create the turnovers, that's the only way that you can literally overshadow, you know what I'm saying, and submerge what's happened in terms of the negative aspect of penalties.
I'll give you another one just getting off the field. And I think that really hurt them in this last game. I think it was 9 for 14. Seattle was on third down. Like if you can pair penalties with, okay, here's a 15-yard penalty they just gave up, tough. Okay, just get them off the field, you know. And they weren't able to do that against Seattle, and that's what really started to stack that confidence for that Seattle offense. And then it was just a one turnover, and it didn't end up meaning anything. So,
but I mean, you think about it on the flip side from that last game, Dallas might have been in some real trouble had it not been for Seattle penalties.
Yes,
Dallas had their back against the wall, and it was not looking good.
Seattle negated Dallas's penalty struggles because of their own penalties.
Yeah, so it had some of those penalties not being called against Seattle, I'm not sure we're sitting here talking about a victory.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So I mean, that's just on both sides of the. You know, that happens for either team.
For me, I want a team that is middle of the road when it comes to penalties in the league, because that shows that you're being physical, but you're also being a little bit diligent and disciplined. Looking at the teams right now that are not penalized, or penalized the least in the NFL right now, you got the Raiders, Vikings, Bengals, Jaguars, Chargers, Commanders. Like, sure, there's a couple of playoff teams in there, but like there's a severe gap there. Of course, you want the Baltimore, New Orleans, Kansas City. That's like 15 through 18. Niners are in there as well. You want that physicality. You want a little bit of balance there, but that balance is being right now. you gotta line up on sides.
You want to limit the amount of negative plays. You know, because what happens is the most frustrating, I mean, the one of the most frustrating things about football is if you go out there and have a major play and you look back and you see a flag. It's like, come on, man.
Especially if it's an unneeded penalty.
Yeah, like there's a backside play.
Lined up.
Or a lineup, you know, something that doesn't affect the play at all. You know, pre-snap penalties, like those things or a holding that just let them go. You know, just those things just destroy you. So I really hope, I know the coaching staff is addressing these things. I don't need to hope, but it needs to be addressed in a way that resonates with players so that they're just like, all right, I'm pulling off. You know, whether that's not guys, hey, you're losing snaps because of it, or you're going to be running lines or whatever it might be. You know, it has to hit home. It has to be more important to these guys to not hurt their team, because that's what it does. It hurts your team.
Let's take our second break. When we come back, we've got 2 calls we want to get to, and then we'll wrap things up here on Talkin Cowboys. It is a Talkin Tuesday on Philly Week. We'll be back right after this.
They say champions are remembered, but legends are never forgotten. United Ag & Turf offers a winning lineup of John Deere equipment built to tackle any challenge on and off the field. Legendary John Deere tractors, combines, residential mowers, commercial mowers, compact construction equipment, Gator utility vehicles, and a full line of golf and sports turf equipment. United Ag & Turf, the official Ag & Turf equipment supplier of the Dallas Cowboys. Visit UnitedAgAndTurf.com to find a location near you.
Are you ready to take coffee off your grocery list forever? Black Rifle Coffee Club is here to help. As a coffee club member, you'll get your favorite coffees roasted, packaged, and shipped to your door free of charge on your preferred schedule. Set it, forget it, and never run low on coffee again. Members also get exclusive deals on coffee, products, and discounts from partner brands. Ease your mind and let Black Rifle worry about your coffee supply. Go to blackriflecoffee.com to join the coffee club today.
It's the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black. And right now, Cowboys fans can get 15% off their $75 order. Plus, because every deal needs a playmaker, your order will include a free 5-piece skincare set and free shipping. The Jack Black Playmaker is 4 of Jack's favorites and a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Make a play for the Playmaker at getjackblack.com/Cowboys with the code CowboysVIP. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys with the code CowboysVIP.
Todd thought it would be secure to jog in the cheetah savanna. Todd believed the big cat repellent he bought online was reliable. And now, Todd is trying to be faster than this cheetah that can run 80 miles per hour. But the good news is, Todd has AT&T 5G that is fast, reliable, and secure. And he learned the best thing to do is stop running and toss her the backpack with the beef stew. AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, secure. It's not complicated.
5G requires compatible plan and device. 5G may not be available in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
Back to Talkin Cowboys.
Back here on Talking Cowboys, this segment is brought to you by Invisalign, the official smile of the Dallas Cowboys. Of course, Black Rifle Coffee Company, bringing you Talking Cowboys here on this Talking Tuesday. Let's check in with Dan in Florida. You're on Talking Cowboys. What's going on, Dan?
Hey, guys. How are you?
Doing great. What's on your mind?
First and foremost, Kyle, congrats on the triplets.
Thank you.
Hey,
send diapers.
Unfortunately for me, Isaiah and Nick stole some of my thunder, but I wanted to talk about the O-line, and I wanted a shout-out to Mike McCarthy for what he's doing with Tyrone on Thursdays. But I don't know if you guys saw this one play. It was the touchdown pass to Ferguson. Tyler's covered. Tyrone is covered. And there's a delayed blitz in the B gap. And Tyrone, punches the DN to the outside. He slides back inside. And it wasn't like a 2-foot slide either. It was, a couple of yards slide. And he keeps the guy off that and basically knocks him into daylights to the right. Okay,
that's what I would have said too.
That was a little bit of attitude, and to what Isaiah was saying, I think they're really, really developing it up front. And I think it comes from Martin and from Tyrone and Tyler now. Tyler's a beast. The other thing I just wanted to throw out, and I fully expect to get beaten up by Isaiah on this one, and that is, we still have red zone issues, okay? And I get really frustrated when we're in shotgun on the 2-yard line, 3-yard line, okay? I know you mentioned, Kyle, we get under center a lot.
Yeah.
But I'm going to throw this out. And 2 options. One of them is from the Kellen Moore book, maybe, and that is, why don't we put Mozzie Smith there leading a guy like Rico Dowdle into the end zone, just up the middle? Or another one where I'm going to get beaten up on, we got a beast back there in Parsons, who used to be a fullback in high school. Or, something has to happen down there. You don't want to get into a tight game and you can't score. And that's what happened to Philly the other day. Okay, if they score on one of those first 2 possessions, maybe that game changes. And the last thing, we beat Philly. To me, the hardest game the rest of the way is Buffalo, and that's because of the weather. I'll hang up, guys. You be well.
Thank you, Dan. Appreciate the call as always.
Appreciate it, Dan. So a couple of things there. So not going to beat you up. I am also a fan of being under center. That's just, I guess, the generation that I came from. I like under center. I hate it as well when you get down there on the 2-yard line and you go 5 yards back just to get the ball.
I will say, Isaiah, every time that it's a short yardage situation, 1 or 2 yards, and they go into the shotgun, he's, why are we in the shotgun?
It drives me crazy. It drives me crazy. So in terms of,
I don't think it's that bad.
It's crazy.
You get a full head of steam.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 7 yards back.
They do too.
So the thing, in terms of options, in terms of being physical, I think the options that the Dallas Cowboys would have in terms of fullbacks, I wouldn't put Mozzie back there. I think option number 1 is going to be Hunter Lipke. Okay, yep. Option number 2 for me is Sam Williams. And option number 3 for me is Princeton Fant if he's elevated.
I like that. I love that.
So those are my options. I would honestly put Princeton Fant first, but most likely he's not going to be elevated. I think he's the most physical out of all those guys I just mentioned. If you were to come downhill in one direction, I would not want to get in his way.
I don't think the coaching staff, just from things I've heard and conversations I've had with people in the building, I don't think they want to risk Micah Parsons getting hurt in that situation. So that's the biggest reason why you haven't seen him there. And also, Micah doesn't have any interest in being a lead fullback. He wants the ball. He would want the ball, and I don't know that they're as comfortable with his ball security as probably he is. So that's just the one thing there on him.
I am such a huge fan of throwing big guys up there in the jumbo set, especially defensive guys. Texas did it in the Big 12 championship and threw a touchdown to Tavondre Sweat. And it's like, I love that. But again, the injury risk, there's a lot more money involved on this level. And then B, you also have the personnel to be able to fit that in on the offensive side. So
to the caller's point, though, I will say, I mean, Mike McCarthy is a guy that used B.J. Raji in that role, a defensive tackle when he was with Green Bay. So.
The Dallas currently ranks 17th in the NFL in terms of red zone percentage. So right dead middle of the water, right where, not where they have been in the past, but certainly somewhere where they can improve. All right, final caller, David in Pennsylvania. You're on Talkin Cowboys. It's Philly week. You're up in Pennsylvania. What's going on?
It's rough. Got to tread lightly around here.
I was kind of hoping that at least you were on the right side of things and you weren't just trying to call in to troll. So thank goodness you're doing the Lord's work.
Are you using an alias right now?
Pardon me?
Are you using an alias right now?
No. But I tell you what, I did go to a Philly game a couple years back, and I borrowed my friend's Philadelphia sweatshirt to wear over my T-shirt. And the whole game, I didn't get harassed. These girls were sitting in front of me, celebrating, and I'd play along, celebrating with the Eagles' accomplishments. But we were winning so much, I told my buddy, we got a long drive home. We got to get out of here. And before we left, the girl turned around to celebrate, and I pulled up my sweatshirt. I said, sorry, can't do it. I'm a Cowboy fan.
Yes, you're an insurgent. I love it. He's an insurgent.
All she did was give me the finger from then on.
I love your dedication.
I'm glad you revealed it because I don't know if a whole lot of Cowboys fans would do what you did in the first place and wear the disguise. But then once you were behind enemy lines, you built that trust up and you tore them down. That was phenomenal.
Mystery, man, I like it.
That's fantastic.
I love it.
That's funny.
Very nice.
Anyhow, I took my second wife, who's now my ex-wife. She was a Redskins fan. I took her down to Dallas for a game, and the worst thing that was said to her was, you could have worn something different. I mean, the hospitality in Dallas was just over the top.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, she got to get it.
What number are you on right now, if you mind me asking?
3.
I love it.
And she's a Cowboy fan.
Let's go.
All right, winner, chicken dinner.
This is the year they get it done, man.
Okay, I don't really have a question. I want to talk much football. I just want to put one comment in there that somebody can get a word to Dak, not to chew his fingernails on the sidelines.
Okay, I'll see what I can do.
That don't look too good.
You don't like it?
Why not?
Hey, it looks like he's nervous.
Body language, okay.
Maybe it's just personal grooming. That's all it is. He just wants.
Yeah, it probably is. I chewed mine for years. Now in my 60s, I don't have to chew it.
It was that your first and your second marriage?
He was chewing them a lot in the first one. And...
Hey, I love your guys' show.
I appreciate it.
Thank you, Dave, for the call. That's awesome. Yeah, keep doing the Lord's work up in Pennsylvania. Oh,
it's
good
funny.
way.
I've seen an Eagles security guard have like a Cowboy shirt underneath his shirt.
You think so?
No, I've seen it happen.
Mm-hmm.
I've also seen Eagles security guards on the field by the tunnel sit there and when fans are yelling stuff to the Cowboys running out, like in pregame warm-ups, like them yelling back to the fans, yeah, good, get in their head.
Oh, wow.
I'm just like, what are we doing
You
here?
ever seen Eagles security push players?
Try and grab face masks?
Ooh.
Huh, interesting.
Yeah. Huh, interesting. What happened to him?
That's the new strategy.
I love
that.
It.
Is the new strategy.
Honestly, I am completely. Okay
what is the
with
NFL going to do about that? Because if that
Nothing.
they
can't do anything about that.
then that's the new strategy.
They're gonna try. And
that's the new
They'll
strategy.
come down like real hard, and if it happens again, they'll it'll be some major penalty or something.
What
like that.
stops you from telling all your staff,
right,
when somebody comes over there, antagonize them?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. What's wrong with that? As long as no one gets hurt, like I'm not saying like get a full-on fight.
But you don't want the player to get thrown out then.
Yeah.
Okay. I was going to say because
that
you would just set it up to
that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that was soft. I don't think
that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I don't think
if they don't punish him, then that's the new strategy for every team.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think they're going to punish him.
They have to.
Yeah, they're going to punish him.
He's going to be an example.
Hey, push one of their best players and let's get him ejected. We'll take care of you in the locker room, buddy.
All right, that does it for us.
Got a recliner waiting for you.
Talking Cowboys here on this Tuesday. When we come back tomorrow, we're going to hit some national storylines, and we're going to preview the Cowboys' defensive matchup against Philadelphia. They've got their hands full again because of these weapons, Jalen Hurts and company. And then Thursday, we'll have QB Vision. We'll talk about the Jugs machine and get everything rolling in the right direction on Thursday as well. But for Chris Beam, Isaiah Stanback, John Machota, Nick Harris, I'm Kyle Yeoman saying so long from Talking Cowboys. We'll see you tomorrow.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!